You run for what feels like hours. By the time your boots meet hard stone, your lungs are burning, your head a mess of confusion and fractured memories. But these bizarre flashes seem to be guiding you, right? And finally, you stand at the foot of a flight of stairs leading up the rock face. You know this place. You almost fell down these stairs, bursting out as you did, clambering down them, holding tightly onto the rails. You finally fell to your knees at the bottom and breathed in the open air. The desperation of earlier is suddenly gone. This time you approach these stairs with a deep feeling of trepidation. At the top you see an old familiar door set into the mountain itself. It's open, just the way you left it. Inside are more stairs leading downwards. You descend. At the bottom, the white hallway is dimly illuminated by low-level emergency lighting. Part of you quietly marvels at the existence of electricity, something you assumed had been all but forgotten out here. But most of you can think of nothing else but the fact that everything is so familiar and you don't know why. You walk past the first two doors, then the next, and come to a stop in front of the third door on the left side. It's unlocked and you walk in. Ah! 3 beds stand against the back wall beside a mass of dormant medical machinery. On each bed lies a person. You don't need to step much closer to know they're all dead. Is this going Resident Evil on our asses here? Tubes snake out from the machine to the beds, needles lying uselessly tucked into decomposing flesh. You're vaguely aware of the fact that you're trembling, that the air is foul with death, that you should be running or crying out or something, but you can't leave. Not yet. Turning, you see 2 more beds against the opposite wall and 1 more body. The empty bed is what draws you. Oh, and suddenly you remember. You remember walking home through the park. You remember the crowd enjoying the summer sun. You remember the girl who almost knocked you over when she rode by her bike. She tried to apologise without stopping and almost ran over a guy coming the other way. Your phone started to ring. It was an unknown number. Hello? Hello, this is Avis Healthcare Clinic calling about your test results? Wow, that was quick. You were only in the clinic yesterday. We'd like to schedule an appointment for you to come in and discuss the results with one of our specialists. Sure, when? Well, the sooner the better, really. You free this afternoon? You couldn't help but start to worry at the urgency of it all. Did they find something bad during your health check? Yeah, I can make it this afternoon. Just announce yourself at reception when you arrive. See you soon. Beep. Do we get screwed by those people? Yes, you remember. The health check had been part of some new government initiative offering free in-depth tests at participating clinics. Urine, blood, vision, hearing, x-rays. The checkup had taken nearly half a day and had been utterly exhaustive. The idea was supposed to be if there was something wrong with you, no matter how minor, the test would find it. You'd expected some small problems, of course, maybe slightly high blood pressure or too much body fat or something, but the truth had been far more shocking. I'm sorry? I said your results were perfect. No trace of any kind of physical defect and no history of hereditary diseases in your family, so the chances of you inheriting an illness are incredibly low. Miss, may I call you Davette? Most people do, don't worry. Also, I can't help but say, come on, this is lazy. The story, fucking interesting. Right? I was going to stop recording last part. I was just going to leave it for a while. But I wanted to keep going. That's a good thing. This is lazy, though. This is just black. Do you have any idea how rare it is to get a perfect score on this test? You're one of a handful of people, the real cream of the crop. Well, that was kind of a weird way to put it. You fidgeted uncomfortably in your chair. On the other side of the desk, the doctor looked upon you with a slightly unnerving smile. David, I'd like to talk to you about the Easter Initiative. The what? But first, she stood up and started preparing something, then she took a step around the desk with a needle in her hand. First, I just have to give you this shot. It's standard procedure in these cases. But you said I was perfectly healthy. Come on now, you're a little too old to be afraid of needles, aren't you? Things felt wrong. Before you knew it, you were on your feet and backing away towards the door, but once you reached it, it swung open to reveal a tall man in what looked like some kind of military uniform. Grabbing you by the arms, he said nothing but held you in place as the doctor advanced. The sting of the needle puncturing your flesh was soon replaced by a spreading numbness, a feeling of incredible fatigue, and finally encroaching darkness. You really will thank me for this, David, I promise. That was the last thing you remember. Before you woke up here. It's all too much and not enough. Your memory is returning, but that's only creating more mysteries. You can feel your body trembling, but it's a very distant sensation. Hey, there you are. Gasping, you spin around to the doorway. I gotta hand it to you. You did good this time. I mean, you lose points for running off like that, but I never would have known a place like this even existed if I hadn't busted my ass coming after you, so, you know, mixed emotions right now. Trash looks around the room with undisguised excitement. So what, you just got crazy hidden bunker sniffing out powers? Or he trails off, seemingly to finally notice the dead bodies in the room. What the fuck? Hey, you okay? Jesus, you look like you're gonna chuck. Come here. In an instant, he's by your side, supporting your body as it slowly slides down onto the floor. Have you been here before or something? You think you're nodding, it's hard to tell. So you can explain this shit. Wow, okay, just stay right here, okay? Put your head between your legs or something. He quickly goes around the room, covering each body in turn with the blankets that lie at the foot of the beds. Listen, I'm gonna go case the joint. Is it okay? Are you okay if I leave you here a sec? Nothing would be better at this point. We need to compose our thoughts. Okay, great. Don't move. I mean it. If you're gonna pass out, better to do it as close to the floor as possible, right? Receding footsteps tells you he's gone, but it's all very dim in your mind. Nausea has taken over every part of you. Everything makes even less sense than it did before. What do these memories mean? What is this place? As soon as you feel strong enough, you look around the room once more. You do know this room. You do. You woke up and it was like dying. Just pain and terror and blinding light. You ripped a tube from your throat and it felt like you'd ripped yourself open. Falling forward, you cried out as needles embedding deep slipped free of your body. You cried out but couldn't make a sound. Accidentally skip past that. Then you were on the floor, twitching and panting in the unforgiving white light. Cold tile, blistering air, and every part of you felt like it was on fire. It felt like hours until you were unable to open your eyes to finally be able to see the room. The row of beds with sleepers, everyone plugged in just like you had been. You couldn't scream, you ran. You zigzagged through the hallways, falling against the walls again and again, but always pushing forward, escaping. The only noise in the sterile white prison was your own. No one came to stop you. Nothing else stirred. You climbed the stairs on hands and knees, and when you finally reached the top, it was like surfacing from a deep, unknowable abyss. You found a heavy door there, scraped and pushed at it until it began to swing open, and prepared to breathe. Until you saw what awaited on the other side. You opened your mouth. You screamed. The silence rang out. The memories cycle around and around in your head until eventually everything fits into place. They're as complete as they could possibly be. And though they answer very few of your questions, there is a deep relief in having them back. Now, in the aftermath, you no longer feel sick, you just feel drained. Your legs wobble as you slowly stand and leave to find Trash. We called him Lenny. I'm going to keep forgetting. You can hear the sound of boots loud on the hard floor of things being unceremoniously rifled through, coming through the end of the hallway. The first thing you notice is Lenny grappling with a tightly sealed crate, trying to pry it open. From the sweat on his brow and the flush on his face, he's been at it a while. Come on, you bastard. The second thing you noticed is the almost perfectly preserved wall of computer equipment. Looking at it, you could almost pretend that you were back in your time, but unfortunately nothing will turn on. Actually, now you think of it, the power has failed in this place entirely. Every door you've passed through has had a security badge, but You've simply walked through. The emergency lighting must be running off a separate backup power, and that, you note from the occasional flickering, probably won't last much longer either. Oh yes. Bang. The noise startles you nearly to death, and for a second you think Lenny has gone nuts and tried to shoot the stubborn crane open. Yeah, there aren't any demons in this place, are there? He hasn't gone mad. But it was just the sound of the pressure being released as the lid popped. Okay, let's see here. You join him and look inside the box to find individual vacuum-packed bags. They're each labelled with a different name. This means nothing to Lenny, and he starts ripping into them without a care. He opens one and an MP3 player falls out, along with a handful of change and a small paper pamphlet. He regards the device for a moment, tries a few buttons, looks over it closely before tossing it over his shoulder. Useless. He works his way through 2 more packets this way, discarding various items that, while familiar and comforting to you, are utterly useless to him, plus 2 more pamphlets, until his hands lands on a bag with a familiar name attached. Hey, that's mine? Grab it. Let's say, hey, that's mine. You hold out your hand expectantly. Lenny blinks. Psst. What? Has it got your name on it? Actually, yes. Holding up his hands, Lenny relinquishes the bag. You and me gotta have a talk about all this stuff sometime soon. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Inside your bag are only 2 items, a cell phone and another pamphlet. You recognise the phone instantly. It's definitely yours. The battery's long dead, though. Lenny sighs, uninterested and unaware of the significance of this discovery to you. This is pointless. Tell you what, you keep working your way through this garbage and I'll go check out the other rooms. You turn your attention from your phone to the unfamiliar pamphlet. On the front cover, the words, "The Easter Initiative," pluck at your memory. Okay, gonna take that as a sir, yes sir, and I'll just get to it, shall I? Lenny leaves. You settle down on the floor and open the first page with a mounting sense of excitement and fear. You read, "The Easter Initiative is a code red measure to be employed only if an alternative solution cannot be found. If you are reading this, then you are the solution and humanity's best and strongest hope for the future. You were tested and found to be of exceptional health, earning you the place in this revolutionary project. No doubt you have questions, which the lab technicians will be happy to answer for you. Though please rest assured that this initiative has access to technology at the cutting edge of known science. Your sleeping period was perfectly safe and you will suffer no negative effects from the hibernation. By default, Phase 1 stasis of the Easter Initiative is scheduled to run for 100 years. The technicians will inform you if complications have resulted in a longer hibernation period." That's definitely happened. This is definitely a Portal-esque sort of thing there. The GLaDOS speech. Regardless, you have been woken because now is the time to rebuild. And you will be a critical part of the New World Order. You skim the rest of the pages. They detail things like how to adjust to your new life, dangers to be aware of, the chain of command, coping with mechanisms for grief and culture shock. The final page has only 1 line of text. Above all else, you must place your trust in the project runners. Yo, how's it going in here? You almost drop the pamphlet as Lenny comes back. You may be numb with shock, but he actually looks pretty shaken himself. Maybe? He thumbs back over his shoulders, pointing out to the hallway. Maybe don't bother going into the other rooms. It's not pretty. You can guess what that means. More corpses. If this is really, truly real, and not part of some elaborate fever dream, if you are really a part of this Easter Initiative, there are no other survivors. Listen, it's going to be dark real soon. We either go now or we're stuck here for the night. Staying here is such a shocking idea. Or is it? All manner of things could stay up. Stupid idea. I don't want to stay here. Lenny looks relieved. Yeah, me neither. It stinks of death in this place. Come on. He extends a hand to you. Let's go. Stand up yourself. Come on. I'm a woman. You ignore Lenny's hand and stand up by yourself. He simply shrugs, bringing his hands to rest awkwardly in his pockets. Okay, home it is. As Lenny heads out the door, you cast a glance back at the room. At the time, you'd only been half aware, but now you see that one of the items the trash discarded earlier was a CD case. Now it lies open on the floor, CD half hanging out of it. You quickly pick it up and stuff it into your pocket before turning and following Lenny, leaving the room far behind. The journey back to the shack goes back in a blur.